Welcome to Key to Serene. Before we begin our journey tonight into the heart of ancient Japan, a world of shifting silks, rising steam, and timeless grace, I invite you to find your most comfortable position. Adjust your pillows, pull your blankets close, and let the tension leave your shoulders. If you find peace in these journeys and wish to travel with us again, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe too. Your support helps us continue to create these quiet spaces for your rest. Now let the world outside your door begin to fade. Imagine the sun setting over the wooden rooftops of old Kyoto. The air is cooling, the evening lanterns are being lit, and 1,000 years of history is waiting to be told. Let us begin our journey into the silk and the steam. Part 1. The Cradle of Culture, the Birth of a Hidden World. Close your eyes and let the modern world begin to dissolve. Imagine a land of jagged peaks and emerald valleys, an archipelago of islands rising like the backs of dragons from the churning foam of the Pacific. This is Japan, but not the Japan of neon lights and high-speed rails. We are traveling back, past the noise of the centuries, to a time when the air smelled of cedar smoke and damp earth, and when the passage of time was marked not by the ticking of a clock, but by the blooming of the plum blossoms and the turning of the maple leaves. To understand the geisha, the kimono, and the tea ceremony, one must first understand the soil from which they grew. These are not merely hobbies or fashions. They are the survivors of a 1,000-year quest for a specific kind of beauty, a beauty found in the balance between the fleeting and the eternal, the Heian dream. Our story begins over a millennium ago, in the year 794, in a city then known as Heian-kyo, the capital of peace and tranquility, which we now call Kyoto. For nearly 400 years, the imperial court lived in a world of profound aesthetic obsession. This was the golden age of Japanese culture. In the palace corridors, rank was not just determined by birth, but by one's ability to recognize the exact shade of a falling leaf or the subtle fragrance of a particular incense blend. During this era, the foundations of the kimono were laid. In these drafty, elegant wooden palaces, noble women wore the junihito, or the 12-layered robe. Imagine the weight of those silks, layer upon layer of hand-dyed fabric, each sleeve slightly shorter than the one beneath it, to create a rainbow of colors at the wrist. This wasn't just clothing, it was an architecture of fabric. It was here that the Japanese soul began to view the body as a canvas for the seasons. If it was spring, one's robes must reflect the pale green of new willow shoots. If it was autumn, the deep, burnt orange of the dying year. The philosophy of the soul, wabi-sabi and omotenashi. As the centuries turned and the power shifted from the delicate courtiers to the iron-willed samurai, the culture did not lose its refinement, it simply changed its focus. Two invisible threads began to weave themselves into the fabric of Japanese life, threads that are essential to the tea ceremony and the geisha. The first is wabi-sabi. This is the heart-aching realization that nothing lasts, nothing is finished, and nothing is perfect. It is the beauty of a cracked tea bowl mended with gold, or the way a weathered wooden gate looks under a grey sky. It taught the Japanese people to find luxury in simplicity. The second thread is omotenashi. This is a form of hospitality that transcends mere politeness. It is the art of anticipating a guest's needs before the guest even knows they have them. It is a selfless giving, where the host and the guest are equals in a shared moment of peace. Without omotenashi, the geisha would be a mere performer. With it, she becomes a guardian of the guest's spirit. The Great Stillness, the Edo period. To understand why these traditions are so concentrated and pure, we must look at a unique moment in human history. For over 250 years, from the early 1600s to the mid-1800s, Japan pulled a veil over itself. Under the rule of the Tokugawa shogunate, the country entered a period of sakoku, or the locked country. While the rest of the world was experiencing the Industrial Revolution and the chaos of global expansion, Japan was a sealed garden. It was during this long protected peace that the arts we are exploring today, the specialized world of the geisha, the intricate folding of the obi, and the rigid meditative choreography of the tea ceremony were polished to a mirror shine. In the city of Kyoto, in districts like Gion, a floating world began to emerge. It was a world of theaters, tea houses, and evening lanterns. It was a place where a person could escape the rigid social hierarchies of the day and enter a realm of pure art. This was the laboratory where the geisha was born, not as a figure of scandal, but as a person of the arts. The meaning of the three pillars. As we prepare to dive deeper into the silk of the kimono, the steam of the tea, and the song of the geisha, remember that they are three branches of the same tree. The kimono is the physical manifestation of the landscape. The tea ceremony is the spiritual manifestation of the heart. The geisha is the human bridge that connects the two, turning a physical space into a living poem. In the silence of the ancient capital, the sliding paper doors, the shoji, are about to open. The scent of tatami mats, dried grass, and old wood fills the air. The journey into the details of the silk is about to begin. The 24 micro-seasons. In the modern world, we think of 4 seasons, but in the heart of Japanese tradition, time moves with much more nuance. To truly understand the kimono, or the tea ceremony, one must understand the Nijushi Seki, the 24 solar terms. These are the breaths of the year, each lasting only about 15 days, whispering of the subtle changes in the wind and the light. Imagine the year beginning with Rishon, the beginning of spring. The air is still biting, yet there is a secret warmth in the soil. Following this is Usui, rainwater, when the snow on the mountains begins to melt and the rivers murmur with new life. By the time we reach Keitatsu, insects awaken, the earth is humming. This is when the geisha prepares her first spring kimono, a garment that must mirror the pale, fragile green of a budding willow. As we drift into clear and bright Seimei, the cherry blossoms begin their transient dance. In the tea room, the scroll on the wall might change to reflect the grain rain, koku, honoring the moisture that feeds the tea bushes of uji. Then comes the start of summer, rika, where the heavy silks of winter are put away and the cooling textures of hemp and light cotton begin to appear. We move through small fullness and grain in ear, watching the rice paddies turn into mirrors of the sky. When summer solstice, Geishi, arrives, the days are long and humid. The geisha carries a fan not just as an accessory, but as a tool to move the heavy air. We pass through slight heat and great heat until the first cool breath of start of autumn, Rishu, touches the skin. This is the time of the white dew, Hakuro, when the morning grass is beaded with silver. The kimonos turned to the colors of the dying year, burnt oranges, deep maples, and the gold of the harvest moon. Finally, we descend into the start of winter, Rito, light snow, and great snow. The world pulls a white blanket over itself. The tea kettle hisses more loudly now, providing warmth against the great cold Daikan. This cyclical rhythm is the heartbeat of Japan. It teaches that nothing is permanent, and every 15 days the world is reborn. Listen to the clock of the seasons. Let it slow your breathing as the year turns and turns and turns. Part 2. The Weaver's Dream, the Kimono. As we move deeper into the quiet of the traditional Japanese home, we find ourselves standing before a heavy wooden chest, a tansu. Inside, wrapped in sheets of washi paper to protect them from the humidity, lie the kimonos. To the untrained eye, a kimono is a beautiful robe, but to those who know its secrets, it is a map of a person's life, their status, their season, and their soul. The T-shaped canvas. The word kimono literally translates to a thing to wear. Ki meaning wear, and mono meaning thing. Unlike Western clothing, which is cut to follow the curves of the human form, the kimono is cut in straight lines. It is a T-shaped garment made from a single bolt of cloth called a tanmono, which is approximately 14 inches wide and 12 yards long. There is a mathematical poetry to this. The entire bolt is used, cut into several rectangular pieces and sewn back together. Nothing is wasted. This reflects the Japanese value of motenai, a sense of regret at wasting the essence of a thing. When a kimono is worn out, it is not thrown away. It is turned into a smaller garment for a child, then into a handbag, and finally into a cleaning cloth. It is a cycle of life that never truly ends. The texture of silence, materials, and weaves. Imagine the sensation of pure silk against the skin. In the world of high-end kimonos, the silk is not merely a fabric, it is a living material. Rinzu. This is a heavy silk damask. If you were to run your fingers over it in the dim light of a paper lamp, you would feel the woven patterns, perhaps a crane or a stylized cloud that only appear when the light hits the fabric at a certain angle. Chiraman. This is a silk crepe with a distinct pebbled texture. It is matte, soft, and has a weight that allows the kimono to drape perfectly, swaying with a rhythmic shush as the wearer walks. These materials are dyed using techniques that take decades to master. One of the most famous is kyoyuzen, a method of hand-painting designs directly onto the silk using rice paste resists to keep the colors from bleeding. A single yuzen kimono might feature a sprawling landscape of cherry blossoms, each petal shaded by hand, requiring the work of dozens of specialized artisans, from the weaver to the dyer to the embroiderer. The language of the sleeves. A kimono speaks before the wearer even says a word. One of the most important elements of this language is the length of the sleeve. The furisode. This is the swinging sleeve kimono worn by young unmarried women. The sleeves are incredibly long, sometimes reaching the ankles. When a young woman moves, these sleeves act as a graceful extension of her gestures. Historically, the swinging of the sleeves was a silent way for a woman to express affection or interest. The tomzode. Once a woman marries, her sleeves are shortened, signaling her transition into a more settled, mature phase of life. These kimonos are often black, kuro tomisode, and feature exquisite patterns only along the bottom hem, symbolizing a beauty that is grounded and sophisticated. The yukata. In the heat of the humid Japanese summer, the heavy silk is replaced by crisp, light cotton. Originally a bathrobe worn after a soak in an onsen hot spring, the yukata became the dress of festivals and summer nights, decorated with bold, cooling patterns of dragonflies or fireworks. The art of the obi-a kimono is incomplete without the obi, the wide sash that secures it. If the kimono is the canvas, the obi is the frame. An obi can be 4 meters long and made of stiff, gold-brocaded silk. Tying it is a feat of strength and precision. For a geisha, the obi is tied in a dara style, a long trailing bow that adds to her ethereal swan-like silhouette. The knot itself, the musubi, carries meaning. There are hundreds of ways to tie an obi, some resembling butterflies, others resembling a simple box, the taiko or drum knot. Each knot is a sculpture made of silk, held together by pressure and hidden cords, requiring no pins or buttons. The price of a masterpiece. To own a handcrafted silk kimono is to own a piece of fine art. Because of the labor involved, the months of hand painting, the gold leaf application, and the meticulous hand stitching, a formal kimono can cost anywhere from $5,000 to over $50,000. When you see a geisha walking through the streets of Gion, she is often wearing the equivalent of a luxury sports car. This is why kimonos are treated with such reverence. They are heirlooms passed down through generations, carrying the scent of incense and the memories of the ancestors who wore them before. A modern reflection today, while the kimono is no longer the garment of daily chores, its meaning has only deepened. It has become a garment of the significant moment. It is worn for a child's 3rd birthday, for a graduation, for a wedding, and for the final journey. It forces the wearer to slow down. You cannot rush in a kimono. You cannot take long, aggressive strides. It demands a straight spine, a gentle step, and a focused mind. It is this forced slowing of the world that prepares us for the next stage of our story. For a geisha, the kimono is her uniform, but the tea ceremony is her meditation. The alchemy of silk, from cocoon to loom. Let us step into the workshop of a master weaver. The air here is thick with the scent of raw silk, a smell that is earthy, sweet, and ancient. The journey of a kimono begins not with a needle, but with a tiny creature, the silkworm. For weeks, these creatures feast on white mulberry leaves, the sound of their eating like a soft, steady rain on a tin roof. When the silkworm spins its cocoon, it produces a single continuous thread of protein silk that can be nearly a mile long. To harvest this, the cocoons are softened in warm water. Imagine the artisan's hands, weathered but infinitely gentle, finding the end of that microscopic thread. Several threads are twisted together to create the raw silk, which is then wound onto wooden bobbins. The weaving begins on a traditional loom, a complex skeleton of timber and cord. The rhythm is hypnotic, clack-whir, clack-whir. Each pass of the shuttle carries the horizontal weft thread through the vertical warp. To make a single bolt of kimono silk, the weaver must throw that shuttle thousands upon thousands of times. If a single thread snaps, the weaver hears it, not with their ears, but with their soul, and pauses to tie a knot so small it is invisible to the eye. Once the silk is woven, it travels to the dyer. In the yuzen process, the fabric is stretched tight on bamboo frames. The artist uses a tiny tube to apply a resist paste made of rice flour, drawing the outlines of flowers, cranes, or flowing water. Then comes the color. Using brushes made of fine deer hair, the dyer applies pigments made from crushed minerals, insects, and plants. Blue from the indigo leaf, red from the madder root, and yellow from the gamboge tree. The most breathtaking moment is the yuzen nagashi. Traditionally, the dyed silk was rinsed in the cold, clear waters of the Kamo River. Imagine yards of vibrant silk floating in the blue water, the excess dye washing away like a trail of colored smoke, leaving only the permanent, brilliant art behind. As you listen, feel the weight of those 1,000 threads. Imagine the silk being smoothed, folded, and finally draped over your shoulders. A garment that began as a mulberry leaf and ended as a masterpiece. Part 3. The Way of Tea, Chanoyu. As the silk of the kimono settles around the body, bringing with it a sense of weighted stillness, we move from the art of wearing to the art of being. We leave the world of vibrant colors and enter the rustic, quiet sanctuary of the tea room. Listen closely to the sounds here: the low hiss of the charcoal fire, the rhythmic thump of a wooden water ladle hitting the side of a jar, and the distant, melodic whistle of a kettle. In Japan, this is known as the matsukaze, the wind in the pines, the sacred leaf. The story of tea in Japan did not begin in a palace, but in a monastery. In the 9th century, Buddhist monks returning from China brought back more than just scriptures. They brought seeds. At first, tea was a medicine, a bitter tonic used by monks to stay awake during long hours of meditation. It was a tool for the mind. But as the centuries passed, tea moved from the temple to the court of the shogun. It became a display of wealth, with golden bowls and extravagant parties. It was not until the 16th century, under a man named Senno Rikyu, that the ceremony was returned to the earth. Rikyu stripped away the gold. He taught that the true way of tea, chado, was found in a simple blade of grass, a single flower, and a bowl of green tea shared between two souls in a room no larger than a storage shed. The architecture of peace, the chashitsu. The tea ceremony takes place in a chashitsu, a dedicated tea house designed to feel like a rustic hut in the mountains, even if it sits in the middle of a bustling city. The crawling entrance. Notice the door. It is called an ijiriguchi, and it is intentionally small, less than 3 feet high. To enter, everyone, whether a powerful warlord or a humble student, must crawl on their knees. This is a great equalizer. It forces you to bow, to leave your ego and your weapons outside, and to enter the space with humility. The tatami and the tokonoma. Inside, the floor is covered in fresh straw mats, the scent of dried grass filling the room. In the corner is the tokonoma, a small alcove where a single scroll hangs and a single seasonal flower sits. This is the only decoration allowed, a focal point for your meditation. The tools of the spirit. Each object in the tea room is treated as if it has a soul. The chawan, tea bowl. These are not the delicate, perfectly round porcelain cups of the West. A true tea bowl is often heavy, uneven, and textured. When you hold it, you feel the grip of the potter's hands. The chasen, kawisk, carved from a single piece of bamboo, split into dozens of hair-thin tines. It is a miracle of engineering, designed to froth the tea into a thick, emerald green foam. The matcha. This is not steeped leaf tea. It is high-grade tea leaves grown in the shade of the Uji Hills to increase their chlorophyll, then stone ground into a powder so fine it feels like silk. The choreography of the ritual. The ceremony itself is a slow-motion dance. The host enters with the precision of a clockmaker. Every movement has been practiced for years until it becomes no-mind meditation. The purification. The host wipes the tea caddy and the scoop with a silk cloth called a fukusa. This isn't about cleaning physical dirt. It is a ritual cleansing of the heart. The preparation. 3 scoops of bright green powder are placed into the bowl. Hot water, never boiling but just below, is added. The whisking begins. The sound is a soft, rapid swish, swish, swish until a fine froth appears. The offering. The host places the bowl on the mat. The guest picks it up, bows, and rotates the bowl twice. This is done to avoid drinking from the front or the most beautiful side of the bowl, an act of extreme humility. The taste. The first sip is thick, grassy, and slightly bitter, followed by a lingering sweetness. This is the flavor of the earth. The geisha's mastery. For a geisha, the tea ceremony is her primary discipline. She does not learn it just to serve a drink. She learns it to master her own body. Through the tea ceremony, a geisha learns how to sit perfectly still for hours without showing fatigue. She learns the way of the hands, how to move her fingers so that every gesture looks like a brush stroke in a painting. When a guest visits a geisha house, the tea ceremony acts as the hush before the performance. It clears the mind of the day's worries. It establishes a bond of ichigo ichie, a phrase meaning one time, one meeting. It is the realization that this exact moment with this tea in this light will never happen again in exactly the same way. It is a moment of perfect, fleeting presence. The transition. As the last sip of tea is taken and the bowl is wiped clean, the silence of the tea room begins to fill with the soft sound of a string being plucked in the next room. The meditation of the tea is about to transform into the celebration of the arts. We are ready to meet the woman behind the white mask. The earth and the fire, the life of a tea bowl. In the tea ceremony, the most revered object is often the simplest, the tea bowl or chawan. To understand the bowl, we must go to the mountains of Kyoto and dig into the cool, damp clay. This clay is the flesh of the earth, aged for years until it reaches the perfect consistency. The potter sits at a wheel or uses the hand-pinching method to shape the bowl. In the philosophy of raku, the bowl is not meant to be perfectly symmetrical. The potter leaves the marks of their fingers in the clay. These indentations are not flaws. They are the places where the guest's fingers will eventually rest, creating a physical connection between the maker and the drinker across time. Once shaped, the bowl enters the fire. The kiln is a roar of orange heat, reaching temperatures that would melt glass. In the raku tradition, the bowl is pulled out of the kiln while it is still glowing red hot and plunged into a bed of pine needles or straw. The sudden shock of the cool air and the smoke of the burning straw creates a crackle in the glaze, a map of tiny dark lines that make every bowl unique. When you hold a tea bowl, you are holding the 4 elements: earth in the clay, water in the slip, fire in the kiln, and air in the cooling. Close your eyes and imagine the texture. Is it baizen ware, which is unglazed and feels like cold stone? Or is it shino ware, with a thick white glaze that looks like melting snow? As the hot tea is poured in, the bowl begins to breathe. The clay absorbs the heat, warming your palms. The weight of the bowl is grounding. It pulls your attention down, away from the chatter of the mind and into the sensation of the present. The bowl has a face, one side that is the most beautiful, and as you rotate it in your hands, you are performing a silent act of respect for the earth that gave its body to make this vessel. Listen to the hollow clink of the bamboo whisk against the clay side. It is the sound of the mountains speaking. Part 4. The Arts Person, the Geisha. The stillness of the tea ceremony has prepared the spirit, and now the atmosphere shifts. The air becomes alive with the delicate, percussive clack of wooden sandals on stone paths and the distant, melodic pluck of a three-stringed lute. We are entering the world of the geisha, the arts person. To understand the geisha is to look past the myths and see a living museum of Japanese history. She is the keeper of the flame, the one who ensures that the songs, dances, and graces of old Japan do not vanish into the modern mist. The roots of the flower. The history of the geisha is a long journey of transformation. In the early days of the 7th century, there were performers known as saburuko, women who often came from displaced families and earned a living through dance and entertainment. However, the geisha, as we know them today, began to take shape in the mid-17th century. Interestingly, the first geisha were actually men, known as hokan, who acted as court jesters and storytellers. But by the late 18th century, women took over the roles so completely and with such artistic brilliance that they became the sole faces of the profession. They moved into specialized districts called Hanamachi, or flower towns, the most famous of which is Gion in Kyoto. The design of a culture. The geisha culture was not designed for mere entertainment. It was designed as a sanctuary for the high arts. In a time when society was strictly regulated, the geisha house was a place where a guest could experience a perfect version of life. The geisha were designed to be living art. Every movement, from the way they pour sake to the way they sit, is a studied masterpiece of grace. Custodians of tradition. They are among the few remaining professionals who master the ancient Kyoto dialect and the complicated rituals of courtly behavior. The ultimate hostess, a geisha is trained in the art of refined conversation. She knows the news of the day, the nuances of poetry, and the secrets of high-level social etiquette. The transformation from maiko to geiko. In Kyoto, a trainee geisha is called a maiko, meaning dancing child. Her journey is one of the most demanding apprenticeships in the world. The white mask. Her face is painted with oshiroi, a white porcelain-like makeup. This was originally designed to reflect the dim candlelight of traditional rooms, making her features glow in the shadows. The hair. A maiko does not wear a wig. Her own hair is styled into intricate shapes like the wereshinobu, decorated with seasonal ornaments called kanzashi. Because these styles take hours to create, she must sleep on a high, narrow wooden pillow, a takamakura, to keep her hair from touching the mat. the evolution. As she matures into a Gaiko, the Kyoto term for a fully fledged geisha, her appearance becomes more subdued. The bright colors of her kimono fade into deeper hues, her makeup becomes more natural, and she begins to wear a wig. This signifies that her value has shifted from her youthful beauty to her profound artistic skill. The mastery of the arts. A geisha's day begins long before the sun sets. Her mornings are spent in rigorous lessons. The shamisen. This three-stringed instrument produces a haunting, percussive sound. Mastering it requires learning hundreds of ancient songs by ear, as traditional notation is rare. The dance, buyo. This is not a fast or frantic dance. It is slow, controlled, and filled with symbolism. A tilt of the fan can represent the rising moon. A step back can signify a falling cherry blossom. The tea ceremony. As we discussed, she continues to practice the way of tea to maintain her composure and physical discipline. The role of the kimono in the geisha's life. The geisha is the ultimate wearer of the kimono. Unlike the average person, a geisha wears a hikizuri, a kimono with a long trailing hem that she holds up gracefully with her left hand when walking outside. This style requires a unique core strength to manage, ensuring that she glides across the floor rather than walking. It is the final layer of her identity, the silk cocoon that protects the artist within. As the night deepens, the geisha prepares for the ozashiki, the banquet. It is here that the tea, the silk, and the song finally meet. The Gion Nocturne, a walking tour of the flower district. It is now the hour of the ox, the time when the sun has fully retreated and the world of Gion truly awakens. Let us take a slow, meditative walk down Hanamachi, the cherry blossom viewing lane. The ground beneath your feet is made of dark, rounded cobblestones, polished by centuries of footsteps. On either side of the street are the machiya, traditional wooden townhouses with their distinctive lattice windows. These slats are designed so that those inside can see out, but those outside cannot see in. It is a world of secrets and soft boundaries. Listen to the sounds of the evening. There is the muffled laughter coming from behind a paper screen. There is the scent of senko, incense, and the earthy aroma of roasting hojicha tea, leaves drifting from a nearby shop. The air is cool and carries the moisture of the nearby river. Suddenly, you hear it. The rapid, rhythmic koto-koto-koto of wooden geta sandals. You press yourself against a wooden wall to make way. Amaiko is hurrying to her next appointment. In the dim light, she looks like a spirit from another age. Her white neck glows against the dark wood of the houses. Her kimono is a flash of brilliant vermilion, and as she passes, you catch a faint scent of sandalwood and hair wax. She turns into a narrow side alley, or roji. These alleys are so thin you could touch the walls on both sides. They are lit by small stone lanterns, their light flickering behind frosted glass. At the end of the alley is the entrance to an ochaya. Above the door hangs a small curtain, a norin, and a red paper lantern marked with the crest of the district, a circle of connected plates. This is the floating world. It is a place where the modern world of steel and glass is forbidden to enter. Here, the only things that matter are the quality of the song, the grace of the pour, and the depth of the conversation. As you stand in the shadow of an ancient willow tree by the Shirakawa stream, you feel the stillness of the water, as it flows over the rocks. Everything is in its place. The city is asleep, but Gion is breathing, a hidden heart beating in the center of the night. Part 5. The Convergence, the Ozashiki Experience. The twilight has deepened into a velvet indigo over the streets of Kyoto. The lanterns of Gion are lit, casting long amber shadows across the cobblestones. We have explored the history of the land, the labor of the loom, the meditation of the tea, and the discipline of the artist. Now the paper doors slide open, and these 3 separate streams flow into a single, breathtaking river. This is the Ozashiki, the evening banquet, the threshold of the floating world. To enter Anochaya, a traditional tea house, is to step out of time. As a guest, you leave your shoes at the stone entrance, feeling the transition from the hard, cold world outside to the soft, fragrant warmth of the straw tatami mats. The room is lit by the low, warm glow of lamps. There is no clutter here. There is only the space created for this specific moment. This is the stage where the 3 pillars of Japanese culture, the kimono, the tea, and the geisha, become one living experience. The kimono in motion. The first thing you encounter is the visual symphony of the kimono. In the stillness of the room, the geisha enters. She does not simply walk, she glides. Because of the weight of the hand-painted silk and the trailing hem of her hikizuri, her movements are governed by a different set of physics. The kimono dictates the pace of the evening. It demands a slow, deliberate grace. As she bows, you see the intricate patterns of the obi, a masterpiece of weaving that has taken months to create. The colors of her robe are chosen specifically for tonight, perhaps a deep plum to match the late winter air, or a pale peach to signal the very first bud of spring. In this moment, the kimono isn't just clothing, it is the landscape of Japan brought indoors. The spiritual anchor, the tea. Before the music begins, there is often the grounding presence of the tea ceremony. Even in the context of a festive banquet, the spirit of Chanoyu remains. The geisha may perform a simplified version of the ritual, serving tea or sake with the same focused intentionality we explored earlier. This ritual serves a vital purpose. It creates ama, or a meaningful pause. It strips away the guest's stress and ego. When the geisha hands you the bowl or the small sake cup, her hands move with the precision she learned in the tea room. The steam from the tea and the scent of the incense create a sensory bridge, connecting the physical beauty of her robes to the spiritual quiet of the heart. You are no longer a customer. You are a participant in a sacred tradition of hospitality. The performance, the soul of the geisha. As the evening progresses, the geisha brings the experience to its artistic peak. She takes up the shamisen, the sharp, percussive notes cut through the silence, followed by the haunting, nasal melody of an ancient song. Then comes the dance. Using her fan as an extension of her soul, she tells a story without speaking. One moment she is a falling maple leaf, the next she is a woman waiting by the shore for a lost lover. The kimono ripples and flows with her movements, the heavy silk catching the light. Here, the arts person fulfills her purpose. She becomes the vessel through which centuries of Japanese poetry and emotion are expressed. The meaning of the meeting, Ichigo Ichie. As the night draws to a close, a profound realization settles over the room. This is the philosophy of Ichigo Ichi, one time, one meeting. The combination of this specific hand-dyed kimono, this specific bowl of tea, and this specific dance performed by this specific geisha will never happen again. Even if you return tomorrow, the light will be different, the flowers in the alcove will have aged, and the mood will have shifted. The convergence of these arts is designed to remind us of the beauty of the temporary. It is a celebration of the fleeting moment, held together by the strength of traditions that have survived for 1,000 years. Fading into the mist. Conclusion. The lanterns are extinguished one by one. The sound of the shamisen fades into the rustle of the bamboo outside. The heavy silk of the kimono is folded back into its washi paper, and the tea whisk is set down to rest. Japan's culture is a tapestry woven from threads of discipline, nature, and grace. From the ancient courts of Heian to the quiet tea houses of modern Kyoto, the kimono, the tea, and the geisha remain the heartbeat of a nation that refuses to forget its soul. As you drift off to sleep, imagine the scent of green tea and the soft shush of silk on tatami. The world is quiet, the history is long, and the beauty is eternal. The music of the shamisen has grown quiet now, and the last of the tea has been poured. The heavy silk robes are folded away, resting in their cedar chests until the seasons turn once more. We have traveled from the imperial courts of the Heian era, through the secret workshops of the master weavers, and into the candlelit rooms of the geisha. You carry with you now the spirit of Ichigo Ichi, the knowledge that this moment of peace is a unique gift, never to be repeated, but always to be remembered. The mist has settled over the Kamo River, and the city of Kyoto is at rest. It is time for you to do the same. Allow the images of cherry blossoms and golden tea bowls to drift through your mind like clouds. Thank you for watching. May your sleep be as deep as the ancient forests, and your dreams as soft as hand-woven silk. Good night.